What is good, guys, man? Thank you for tuning back into the channel, man. If you're new, make sure you hit that sub button down below to be notified for every single video that I do drop, man. And also, how you know you're notified is once you hit that subscribe button, you'll hit that bell and you'll press all. That's how you know you're notified. Also, go follow the Instagram. It's right here. The link is down below in the description, man. This is part 4, man. Now, they say she got a part 5, but I haven't seen a part 5 on her TikTok. So I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, where's part 5 at the end of this video? If I find a part 5, I'm going to react to the part 5. If you have not watched part 1, part 2, part 3, 3, then I advise you go do that. I should have somewhere in the comments where you can find those parts. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into part 4.
Part 4. Karen said that after her and the man locked eyes and he sent a horribly negative feeling throughout her entire body, she instantly packed her stuff up and left. She said the entire walk back to her loft, he followed. She said that she tried to cleanse her loft, but he only seemed to get stronger when she started using sage. She got a phone call saying that her son was doing really bad and he was getting kicked out of his wife's house. They lived in Las Vegas, and that he was going to walk. This is a 9-hour drive. Walk to our house because he needed a place to stay. We didn't hear anything from this man for 2 weeks. One night, I'm sitting inside of the living room with my family when the door just bursts open. I knew it was her son because I had seen him in pictures. He said, "Where's the bathroom?" I pointed him in the direction of the bathroom and he took a really long shower. We kind of fussed because I figured if he was doing so bad with his wife and his own kids, I didn't want a strange man around my kids. You know, I didn't feel safe. I didn't know him. He left a very, very dark ring around the bathtub, and I kind of threw a fit, and I wish I wouldn't have thrown a fit now. I told him he needed to clean that ring out of the bathtub like I think most people would, but I should have taken into consideration that he had just spent 2 weeks trying to get hours away, get into another state, and I should have been a little bit more cautious. He made himself right at home. He went upstairs, laid in my ex-boyfriend's cousin's bed, and went to sleep. We didn't see him for 2 days, and when we finally came in contact with him, he had already unalived himself. He left a note in a book. He let us know that he was done, and he took a little too much medicine that night. That was horribly sad for Karen. That broke her. She had 2 boys. They were twins, and this was her baby boy. A few days later, when I was visiting Karen at her loft, I was walking through the hallway. The loft that she lived in sat upstairs of an old salon, like a hair salon. She was a hairdresser. The salon was also a historic building. There were many presences there. We would often see orbs, hear sounds, things would move around. You could hear pipes banging around, but they didn't seem too natural. We were kind of arranging her son's belongings, and she was just going through making like a memory box and stuff. But as I'm walking through this little hallway past the shampoo, like the wash bowls, there's a little closet that has a curtain over the front of it. As I'm walking past that, I get hit in the back of my head really hard. I jump around really fast because I'm like, who the hell was messing around? Like, that was too hard to be playing. And I see her son's hat right there on the floor, right behind me, right at my feet. I instantly yell, and I said, "He's here." He just threw his hat at me. He hates me. And I figured that's what I got for forcing him to scrub the bathtub that night. Throughout all of this time, I was extremely drawn to the cemetery. I was also extremely drawn to this hill. The house sat on a hill, but that whole area is filled with hills. I didn't feel safe in the house. I did not feel safe in the house during the daytime. I needed to leave the house. Every morning when my ex would go to work, I needed to get out of the house. I couldn't be there. And every evening, I needed to drive past the cemetery. I needed to just be parked outside of the cemetery. I also needed to drive up the hill, and it became a ritual for us. If I didn't go to the cemetery and if I didn't drive up around the hill, I couldn't sleep, and I would have extreme sleep paralysis. There were a few times when I couldn't drive and go to the cemetery. The sleep paralysis would be dreams of me being inside of the house. There were constant dreams, reoccurring dreams, where I would be inside of that front living room. I would say, "I'm getting sleepy," and we'd turn off the TV and go into the bed. Just normal act. The next thing I would know is something would be at my feet, dragging me off the bed and throughout the house. I hate sleep paralysis, and this was a really horrible feeling. I've never had sleep paralysis to where I was feeling like I was physically awake and moving around. Normally I'm just stuck in my head and I can't move when it's black. I noticed myself starting to deteriorate. I noticed my ex-boyfriend's cousin also start to deteriorate. His eyes are getting dark underneath. He always looks tired. He was very low on energy, and I recognized that in myself as well. So one day we were home by ourselves, and I mentioned it to him. I just said, I'm really tired and I've been having really bad sleep paralysis. He tells me that he had been having sleep paralysis also. He told me the same dreams, except he was with the little boy when it would happen. It was almost like a breath of fresh air knowing that somebody else had been feeling the same thing I was feeling, because I was thinking that I was losing my mind. I get excited because my mom is coming to visit. I needed to have, this is around the holidays now, so we're like a month in, November, December. My mom also had an incident in the house. That's why I'm bringing her into this. She was inside the master bedroom upstairs. She came out for a little bit. She said that when she went back upstairs to go into the bedroom, there was a big weight against the door. Well, the weight was a trunk. They had purchased an antique trunk from a thrift store in the area. It was really heavy, solid wood, super old, lined. Nobody was inside of the room, so it would be impossible for this trunk to be pushed up against the door unless somebody did it from the inside of the room. She said as she was pushing the door open, she struggled quite a bit because it was so heavy. Once she got in, she realized that was a ghost. It was paranormal. There was no way that could have happened. As time went on, we start to smell rotten eggs. There is just this really sulfury, rotten egg smell that would just seem to come out whenever it felt like it seemed. One day when my brother was hanging out with us, we started to smell the rotten egg smell. And he's like, let's go look downstairs. Maybe something is downstairs in the cellar, the basement. I agreed. I said, let's go look down there, because that was kind of an area of the house that we all kind of wanted to look into, but we also didn't want to like open that door and let something out. When my brother was in high school, he was like the star football player, very well-known, popular guy. He was just the pro athlete. He did everything. During that time, my parents would take a really large red drum to all of his games to help beat on the drum. And like, that was like our thing. Like they would kind of like chant and beat for my brother. We go downstairs to explore, and we see the same TV down there. The chair is still in the same place. There's a bunch of old stuff in there. So the guy who owned the house, he let us know that we could go down there. We could explore. If we wanted anything, we could have it. We just had to call and ask. He said it was perfectly fine. This was stuff that belonged to him and his family. He had no kids. He had no use for it, and he'd rather it go to somebody who wanted it and would cherish it. We start opening up boxes, and we're finding old like Avon perfumes. Like somebody in the house must have sold Avon. So there's a lot of vintage Avon boxes and like tins. There's a bunch of card collections and just old antique like pottery things. We see a big box of tapes, and we see there is just a tape that's kind of sticking off the side of the top of the box. He's like, let's just put it in. Let's see. It looked like family home tapes. Let's pop it in the TV right there, because why not, right? As soon as we put that tape into the tape player, we hear a very familiar sound. It was the red drum. It was the football drum. We hear my mom yelling, and we hear the drum, and we see my brother running across the field. On this random tape, we find with...
I know she did not end it right there. There's got to be a part 5. This is why people are going crazy in the comments. She teasing at this point. There's got to be a part 5, man. Y'all need to go to her TikTok. Go to her TikTok and let her know that Shawn sent you, and ask for that part 5. As I'm scrolling right now. I'm scrolling right now through TikTok trying to find part 5, and I can't find it. Man, y'all comment down below, man. This is like a Netflix series, man. It looks like it's getting deeper and deeper, man. But listen, man, in my videos I always say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. Until next video, I'm out of here. Peace.